Yes, guys, make sure you're following the GBFC Telegram. The link is in the top of the description. In the end of this month, I'm going to be giving away one of my exclusive GBFC hoodies with only 100 of them made. Coming to you guys on sale soon. As well as that, we've got a signed shirt by none other than Chelsea's main man, Cole Palmer. If you're not in the Telegram, you can't win. Link at the top of the description. Let's get cracking. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel, the first video since the GBFC Christmas special podcast, which unfortunately, with the Christmas Eve result losing 2-0 against Wolves, the comments on that video just got very sour. It's all about how much George doesn't know what he's doing. George is going through a personal crisis. No, it's Christmas Eve. Chelsea put in probably a worse performance than Manchester United, if that's even possible to do so in that defeat. And I was at a Christmas party watching the game. I'm not going to post a 6 Things We Learned video when we basically learned nothing other than we're not very good, to be quite honest. And against Crystal Palace last night, we want to talk about this one here as positives within mediocrity again, I would say. Normally, when Chelsea win, it's all about getting carried away. It's all about looking up the table, believing that we can move. We are so stuck in mid-table right now that you look at the performance last night against Palace. We did create some opportunities, some good ones. We dominated the possession again, 64% possession. But still, Crystal Palace had more shots. They still had more shots on target. It was an odd lineup from Mauricio Pochettino. It's a 4-2-3-1. You then look at the bench and you're like, well, maybe actually this isn't such an odd lineup after all, because there's really not that many players that are fit and ready in this Chelsea squad right now. You got Christopher Nkunku finally getting a start in the Premier League for Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. He was looking good, but still we're building that sharpness. I think when it comes to the quality that he possesses on the ball, Christopher Nkunku has it all. And I think he just does instill a bit more of a confidence around those playing around him. But as for the way that the game goes in Chelsea's favour, we start the game and Palace are actually starting a lot better than us, struggling to get into it. And then all of a sudden, there are 3 players that grab the game by the scruff of the neck and they're like, no, we're going to move this forward. Malo Gusto, Nkunku, and Mykhailo Mudryk. Mudryk scoring in the opening goal within the first 15 minutes. Then Chelsea, once again, we start to kind of sit back a little bit. We've got Gallagher putting in a very good shift in the middle. We are not looking maybe as disciplined as we would have liked to. I watched the full game back this morning and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, 15 minutes in, you go 1-0 up at Stamford Bridge, the crowd are rocking, everyone's backing the players. And then again, it's kind of as if the fact that we don't really have a necessary style, there are still brand new patterns that are being built. There is still a total lack of patterns throughout this Chelsea team because the team does keep on changing. You've got to feel sorry for Pochettino in many senses here because we're always being forced to make lineup changes, to make even potentially formational changes at times as well. And at the moment, it's just about Chelsea grinding out results. We are at very best a mediocre Premier League side at this point. I don't want to get too carried away here today. There's a very positive outlook to the boxes here in the 6 Things We Learned. And I want to start with the man who, in my opinion, was by far and above and beyond the best player on there for Chelsea on the field today. Malo Gusto is the opening green box of this video. He gets a brilliant assist. But one thing I absolutely love about Malo Gusto is, you remember when Reece James burst onto the scene at Chelsea and you're looking at his characteristics as a player, you're looking at his strengths and you're thinking, this guy could literally play anywhere on the field. What Malo Gusto does so well, that I absolutely love about him, is whether it's on the left-hand side of the pitch, where predominantly he's being asked to use his left foot, or on the right-hand side of the pitch, the man is more than happy to go absolutely everywhere. Makes an incredible run to create the goal that Mudryk scores in the early stages of the game. But it's not just that. The man is brilliant when it comes to putting in the tackles. He's only 19 years of age, which is insanity. And when we're looking at the recruitment of Chelsea Football Club, and I've said it many times, Harry said it on the podcast, loads of YouTubers have said the same. We have just bought a lot of players who aren't quite good enough. Malo Gusto is 19, but the more you see of him, the more you realise there's actually a hell of a lot of ability that this guy can bring to this Chelsea team. I thought he was magnificent. I thought he was the best player on the entire field. And that is a big, big compliment to give. Box number 2 is for Conor Gallagher. I think once again, he ran the midfield for Chelsea. Caicedo, it's not the Caicedo we saw at Brighton. I know he can be so much better than he is. And the thing I was worried about when I saw a 4-2-3-1 with a pivot of Caicedo and Gallagher, my biggest concern was how quickly are we going to get the ball forward, calling Christopher Nkunku into this team. He is going to be the connector. He's going to link the fullbacks who are overlapping, the wingers who are out there, to get Chelsea going. What Conor Gallagher does very well, and that is when he is a bit deeper in the Chelsea midfield as opposed to playing as like more of an advanced 8. Conor Gallagher is very good at drawing the fouls. He knows where to put his body in the early stage of the game where Palace were pressing very high up the field. They were pressing heavy. And they're basically just trying to suffocate Chelsea, make us panic, make us make mistakes, and then potentially go 1 or 2 goals up at Stamford Bridge, which is not that difficult to do. Conor Gallagher put in a lot of the hard work, makes so many passes, gets in the way of things, and overall, the closer it gets to January, I'm sorry, I know a lot of you are thinking, George, haven't you got anything better to say than just giving Gallagher the big thumbs up all the time? Unfortunately, even when Chelsea are playing bad, he's still one of the better players out there on the field. We weren't bad in this game. We got the job done, and Gallagher was the best midfielder, in my opinion. We move into Mudryk. It's his 3rd goal of the season, and it's yet another one of those where what we saw from Mudryk today kind of makes you question all of the things that you previously thought about what Mudryk was good at. And I've been spending a lot of time this season thinking about Mudryk, saying, well, what is it this guy actually does? Now, I'll tell you what Mudryk loves to do that I'm now loving seeing him do. When he's on that left wing, Ian Matson's obviously playing over on the right, Mudryk on the left. When he's on that left wing, Mykhailo Mudryk is the most dangerous when he comes inside to the middle. Very similar to what Eden Hazard used to do so frequently, where Hazard would have the ball on the touchline, and then all of a sudden, he's trying to get into those central areas as much as he possibly can. Ian Matson nearly opens the scoring for Chelsea, and it is all because of the vision and the brilliance when Mudryk cuts inside. Plays an incredible through ball. Matson gets there because the ball is weighted perfectly, but doesn't put enough on it, and I think it was Henderson who maybe got the save, or the defender deflects it, and Chelsea don't score. Once again, when it comes to the goal, Mudryk finds himself in a central position. It was only a week ago when we beat Newcastle that we were talking about that again, putting pressure on Trippier, getting into the box and getting himself yet another goal. I think Mudryk is improving a lot. I still think in that second half he kind of went missing a little bit, didn't really offer so much, if anything at all, but he does get that Chelsea goal, and I think when it comes to the level of improvements that we can expect to see at this moment in time where lineups are still changing, Pochettino is still finding his feet. It's taken a bloody long time to find them, and he ain't found them yet, but he's still finding his feet. Mudryk is as well, but as I keep saying to you lot, goals breed confidence, and it is yet another one. And a player who gets himself another goal and will, I'm hoping, get some confidence from this, because I don't think Noni Madueke is the kind of bloke who lacks confidence at all. If you watch the Prime post-match interview that he did, you can clearly hear that this is a guy that backs his ability. There was a bit of a discussion between him and Gallagher, obviously with no Palmer, no Enzo in the team. Who's going to take the Chelsea penalties? Noni Madueke wins the penalty. I don't know how it's taken bloody 2 minutes or so to realise that this is a penalty. It's Madueke's footwork and his speed to know that he wants to get that ball away from the Palace defender to get a shot away. The Palace defender comes in. You could argue that he half pulls out of the tackle, but he doesn't. He brings the guy to the ground. Noni goes down, wins the penalty, says to Conor, you know what, mate? I fancy myself here. And it's a really good penalty. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank was saying you wouldn't be doing that stutter. Too many players do the stutter now. Some can't do it. Noni clearly can. Buries it, and it's a massive moment for Chelsea in a game where, once again, we're talking about Nicholas Jackson missing absolute sitters, which is no longer a surprise to me. I'm not going to shove him under the bus. I just expect it. Armando Broja takes the ball down magnificently and then puts a left-footed shot into the side netting. But a good effort, I would say. Better than the Jackson one, at least. Noni Madueke, Chelsea needs someone. It's 1-1. You've had a lot of good chances in the game. You're dominating the possession. It's the same old story again and again and again. No, we're going to have someone win us that penalty, convert that penalty, and Chelsea get the job done as a result. Box number 5, Christopher Nkunku is a player that I was going to give this box to. I've given it to Petrovic in the end here because I want to talk a little bit about the way I feel about the direction of this Chelsea team right now. And I think when it comes to the goalkeeping position, Petrovic, a lot of the goals that he's conceded when he has conceded for us, you can't really fault him for it. And other than that, Palace today had more shots on target than Chelsea did. Petrovic makes enough saves. Dean Henderson in the other end doesn't. Chelsea win the game and Crystal Palace lose. So for Petrovic, he's very quickly, I'd say not very quickly, but he's quietly, it's probably the opposite of quickly, he's quietly staking a massive shout here to be the Chelsea number 1. And I think the reason this January we might not go and sign another goalie is because it is so bloody alarming that we need a proper striker. We absolutely, above anything else right now in this team, need someone to bury some of these chances that we keep making game after game, but we keep talking about, well, Chelsea are top of the Premier League when it comes to big chances missed. We've added more to that tally in this game against Palace tonight. Mauricio Pochettino is box number 6. I've given a yellow to Pochettino. It was either I gave a green to Christopher Nkunku or I thought just had an all-round just good game, and he kind of oozes this class, and I think it does elevate everybody around him. He's definitely an interconnector within that team when it comes to what he does with the ball. But with Pochettino, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting to see a bit of style, a bit of consistency. I know with the lineup it's difficult, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you got Levi Colwill playing at bloody left back again, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, no wonder for the goal that Chelsea concede, Levi Colwill's out of position because he's playing where he thinks he wants to be playing. Yet he's still there as a left back. I don't understand. And if you're going to play Ian Maatsen on the right wing, really? When he's actually a left back? On the right wing, I think we've actually had, Pochettino's got so lucky today because if Noni Madueke, the guy that is a right winger who's desperate to play for Chelsea, that's why it's a yellow for Poch. Because I don't know how to think about this. Ian Maatsen didn't have a bad game, but he's out of position. Noni is a right winger, comes on and changes the game, and it's like, phew. Does it have to keep being phew for Poch? Does it have to keep being, we got lucky there a bit, didn't we? I don't understand. I really don't understand. And it's also another reason why, I'll be honest with you, my interest in Chelsea right now is very low. It's never in my whole 29 years, nearly 30 years, been as low as it is right now. And I'm not afraid to say that on a YouTube channel as well, where I rely on my bills being paid because I'm interested in Chelsea, which means that you, by default, are interested in what I make. It's hard for me to say that on camera, to say that I'm very much having to, force myself to get excited, to force myself to get interested with Chelsea right now, because overall, there's just so many stigmatic things within the club at various levels, player level, coaching level, ownership level, fan reaction level on a whole, where I'm just a bit like, I'm not feeling this, to be quite honest. But this is a good win against Crystal Palace. We've got Luton now before New Year's Day, which is going to be another tricky game. Luton at Kenilworth Road. Not an easy proposition. Let's see how we get on. We've managed to get this job done today. We've beaten Crystal Palace by 2-1. If you did enjoy the 6 Things We Learned video, please hit the like button on it. Subscribe if you are new. And I'm telling you now, I pray here that we beat Luton, because 2 wins in a row, all of a sudden, I'm getting motivated again. It's as simple as that, guys. When I look at Chelsea right now and I look at Wolves on Christmas Eve, ruined my Christmas. Totally ruined my Christmas. So, do you think I was going to talk about Chelsea before that? I'm sorry, but there are sometimes a lot of things that are actually bigger than football. And just keeping your sanity and enjoying yourself at Christmas is important to me. I hope you did the same thing. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Back tomorrow with another vid. Come on, you Blues.